right. And then we can go to our opening video. Oh yeah. I should make sure that like you can hear me. I don't like that because that means there's an echo. There we go. That should get rid of the echo. Oh yeah, just in time too. When I hit the go live button, chat, and the studio lights hurts my eyes. I really got to work on the wording there. Ad breaks without warning me. Bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at chat, and I grab my headset tight. Just one look at chat, and I know it's going to be, what's it going to be? A lovely, lovely stream, 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 a lovely stream, 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 lovely stream. With Lego set ahead of me. First we gotta fly the plane. We're not building Lego today. More! Taking off's the easy part. Always the very best time. Throw the throttle up and pull the yoke back. Then I look at chat. And I grab my headset. Turn on autopilot. Jeez, I gotta remember the lines. Just one look at chat. And I know it's going to be... What's it going to be? A lovely, lovely stream. 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 A lovely stream. Lovely stream. Lovely stream. Lovely stream. A lovely stream. Lovely stream. Lovely stream. Lovely stream. A lovely stream. All right, let's look at the words this time. When we get to cruising altitude, we'll build the Lego set. Redeem some Mahal Awards points. Always the very best time. Then I look at chat. And I spin the wheel. Just one look at chat. And I know it's going to be a lovely, lovely stream, a lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, a lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, a lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream. Aloha to House of Jacobs. Welcome on in, my good friend. How are you doing? How is Bloodborne treating you? Gino, just so you know, I'm doing this live. I'm not like making this up as we go. Because it's a lovely, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream, a lovely stream, lovely stream, lovely stream. We have a karaoke song that we do. We got a lot of karaoke songs. I'm going to be honest about that. But we have a special karaoke song for the beginning of the stream. And it's called A Lovely Stream. Some people know the song. Some people don't know the song. One person was like, wow, he wrote a whole song about this? Where did you get the beats? I was like, yeah. But welcome on in. We're having a good time. We're going to have a great stream tonight. I'm so excited. I'm so excited everyone in chat is here because we're going to have a very good time. So let's get at it. Aloha. How are you doing, my friend? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know House of Jacobs game, please go check him out. Good friend of mine of the stream. Wonderful fellow dad streamer who pushes me to become a better person every single time I talk to him. Just phenomenal person. Always great content. I wish I knew more about Pokemon so that like when I watch his wonderful streams, it would like mean more to me, but I know the people in his community absolutely love Pokemon, and that's just part of what makes him such a good streamer. Does things that people are doing. Ads are over. I'm glad that ads are finally over because I just spent like the last minute talking about how wonderful you are. But yeah, so like I've never liked the idea of doing a opening video, right? I think you've heard me rail about the concept of an opening video or starting a student screen. So I said, how can I come up with something that can get me past the opening set of ads? Because to me, there's value in not having any content that happens before that's happening at that point, because you don't want people to miss that. It's like the beginning of it. So I've been doing the parody karaoke songs, and so I said I got to make an intro song, I got to make an outro song. We're working on the raid song right now, and we've worked on a couple other ones. But just the idea that, you know, we start every stream with a song, it's just long enough to get us almost to the end of the ad break every single time. Sometimes we don't quite get there, sometimes we do. It's okay, that's what it is. But today's gonna be a very good stream for a couple of reasons. One, we're gonna continue our around the world flight. We're gonna be flying to Kenya today. I'm so excited about going to Kenya. It's gonna be awesome to do that. We're leaving Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and we're gonna be heading over to Nairobi, Kenya. But as you guys know, once we get to cruising altitude, we normally break out a Lego set. But we're not doing that today. No, we're gonna continue on with something that we started last stream, which was we're gonna be playing the game Le Motte de Arthur, which is a geez, how to describe it? It's an interactive story world that my uncle Chris Crawford developed. For those who do not know, I have a quasi-famous relative. I'm trying to find my mouse right now. There's my mouse. I have a quasi-famous relative, and I say he's famous in the regards that, like, there's a whole ass Wikipedia page about him. Like, and if you know your video game history, you may know about this dude. You may not. It's fine if you do. It's fine if you don't. But he is my uncle. And for pretty much how I've always kind of known him is this kind of a weird uncle who does what he needs to do. And he hadn't released a video game since the 80s. He'd been working on this interactive story engine called Erasmataz, and then he finally admitted he was incapable of doing it. But it's not that he isn't good enough or smart enough, it's that no one in the history of existence is good enough and smart enough. And so then I was on his webpage, so I was talking about him with a friend, and I go and I look it up, and sure enough, he released something last year. And so we're interacting with it. We're doing that. It's called...
Are they boo? No, they're saying boo earns. Boo earns. Are you saying boo or boo
earns?
I was saying
Boo earns. Well, you know, if you go develop a video game back in the 80s and then you wrote a book called The Art of Game Design that they used to teach in colleges, and you created the Game Developers Conference in your living room, you too, House of Jacobs Gaming, can have your own Wikipedia page. Aloha, Lone Wolf. We haven't started. I know you're so excited to see where we pick off in Le Motte de Arthur. I'm excited because I have no idea what the hell happened. I rewatched it the other day, and it was interesting to watch. I think anyone who streams should rewatch their own streams, but it's part of the fun of it. But I have no clue what happens. Oh, aloha, Carrot, I saw you pop in, and I didn't say aloha when I first saw you chat, so I apologize for that. Welcome on in, friend. How are you doing? I'm excited. Let's get started off with our flight stuff, because we have to figure that out before we go anywhere. We should turn up the volume of our plane. There it is. Okay, we need to go over here. We need to get our flight information put in here. How am I doing? You know, in all honesty, because I'm always going to be honest with you guys, I was supposed to stream on Friday, but I didn't. As many of you guys who probably were here are like, why is Crawl not streaming? I've just had a long fucking week. It is really, really embarrassingly bad and ridiculous. For those who do not know, I am not trying to trauma shame or look for any people to say wonderful things about me, but last fall, one of my uncles did pass away. Not the uncle who made this video game, a different one. And then earlier this year, my grandma passed away. My grandma was very, very old and very, very, like, we're very glad that she's moved on to the next stage of her existence because she was just, old and had dementia so bad that no one really could talk to her, and just you just wonder about the quality of life that she was having at that point. And since my cousins hadn't set up my uncle's celebration of a life, the family kind of got to the concept of like, hey, why don't we have 2 celebrations of life in the same weekend? And we're now at the point as a family where we're trying to plan the 2. And my uncle's has been planned. We have a date, we have a time, and now the negotiations are happening to help people be at the next one, to be at grandma's at the same time. And I'm not saying people aren't being accommodating, but it's stupid things. Like if you figure we're doing 2 celebrations of life in a weekend, you would want to make sure that both days of the weekend were open. And part of the problem is the person who's planning it is my dad. And my dad is, to put it mildly, he is an apple, did not fall far from the tree of grandma, and his memory is going pretty quickly too, unfortunately. So it's making it very difficult in the family. A lot of emails, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of people very frustrated. And Friday was just a day where everything was boiling over, and I just mentally couldn't handle coming on stream. So Lone Wolf, that's how I'm doing. I'm better at this point. We're supposed to find out at some point today when our family is going to have a Zoom call so that we all can really lay things out on the table and see if it is possible to do them both on the same weekend, or if we're going to have to spread it out over multiple weekends. Which is going to suck for me because I've bought plane tickets to fly home for my uncles, and I do not want to have to buy tickets to fly back a second time for my grandma's. Yeah, so we will see. And thank you so much, Carrot. Like I said, I mean, at this point, my uncle's has been long enough that I'm not really feeling the emotions with that. And with my grandma, again, our family has, most of us had already said goodbye to her emotionally. Most of us had already had. So really, it's just the frustrations about people not being able to make things work. Yeah, I'm doing better today. I'm doing better today. Like I said, at some point I will get an email that will say this is when we have our family Zoom call. But I think the thing that's affecting me the most is knowing that my dad has gotten to the point in his own life where we can't trust him to run point on things anymore, right? He can't be the person in charge of planning his mother's celebration of life. He can't be the person who we tell things to and can expect him to remember it. And it's very sad for us from that perspective. Oh, also, don't forget, what we're not forgetting. But that's kind of the hardest part. Kenya has all the wild animals. Exactly. We're going to Kenya. Anyway, we need to keep getting our flight set up here. We're going to change our flight time of day to there, we're going to take off then. And then we have to make sure we give ourselves all the gas. We click into weight and balance. And we say, give us all the gas. All of it. We want more. Aloha, Coded. How are you doing, friend? Welcome on into chat. So we've fully given our plane all the gas it needs. We have plotted our course. We've set the flight conditions. How are you doing, Coded? Hopefully things are well. And then we can hit the fly button so we can get going on our flight. Ooh, that is a beautiful scene right there. I can't wait to get into this. Coda, have I told you what we're doing? What we're doing? Because we're not building Lego tonight. I figure Zelby may have let you in on it. Lone Wolf said something, but he's going to post it again. Next 3 days. Mahalo for being here, everything, Lone Wolf. I always greatly appreciate you and your friendship and you being here. I recognize work comes first. And as I would tell every single person who's like, cry, I'm going to miss your stream. It's so devastating. I wish I could watch it. One, you can always go check out our YouTube. We have 2 YouTube channels. One, which is for videos and clips, and there's absolutely nothing on that. But the second one is my VOD channel, and where all of our streams are located there for your viewing enjoyment. So, yeah. And don't forget, we do have our 500 stream celebration coming up. I got the graphics designed for that, so we're going to be able to have that coming up. We're still kind of working out through the logistics. But yeah, we're getting very excited about the 500 stream celebration. It should be a very good time. I'm very excited about it. And now we can get our plane going, by the way. Oh, that looks nice. You know what I realized I didn't do? I didn't see what the orientation of the plane was. I want to make sure I put that up over here because this way I can see the chat while I'm flying. And we got 4 more weeks, then you'll be done with the early starts. There you go. I'm just testing to make sure that that's working. Perfect. I will be able to see your guys' messages while I'm flying the plane. Oh, Lone Wolf has redeemed the prize wheel. Should I do the prize wheel? We'll do it as soon as we take off. Okay. All right. Of course. I'm just going to get up at this point. All right, here we go. Where's my mouse? It's all the way over there, 3 screens away. There it is. Strolling around. All right, let's do that. And then we get rid of the brakes. Number delete. And we're doing this, baby. We're going to Canyon. So anyway, for Coded's benefit, we are going to be doing an interactive story world today, as opposed to building Lego. There we go. We're lifting off. It is a interactive story world developed by my uncle Chris, and we should have a lot of fun with it. And there we go. Let's put up our landing gear. Oh shit! I did not turn on anything. There it goes. And now we can turn. It's one of the problems with having all the buttons. If I don't flip all the buttons, it doesn't do us any good. Approach Beechcraft 6801. Is type Beechcraft King Air 1 miles. We're crossing 2,000 feet in the air, on our way up to 5,000 feet. And we can set our altitude at Squawk 7707, Beechcraft 801. Beechcraft 801 radar. There we go. West of Dar es Salaam, 2,500 feet. Altimeter 29.2. There we go, and then we can face forward. We want to go to heading 341 degrees. There we go. Again, we're still going to work our way over to 5,000 feet. But then we can turn on heading and altitude. We're doing good. We're getting so good at this. There we go. And we're almost at 5,000 feet. We're close enough now that I'm just going to turn on autopilot. We're doing that.
Automatic pilot. There it is.
Aloha, friends. All right, now we can start the story. All right, so for those who were not with us last time, we're doing interactive story world from my Uncle Chris. Wait, what am I waiting for? Wheel spin, yes. That's a good wait. No, do not be sorry. It is my fault for forgetting it. May the odds forever be in your favor. Two.
Congratulations. Dad has to practice the katana. It's very hard.
This is the katana. It is a ball game from Japan where my job is to get the ball into the stick without picking it up. Do with this information what you want. I'm going to go back to the just chatting screen because that's probably my best one. First try. I definitely need to get first try from the Lego movie as like a soundbite. I definitely need to do that. All right, so to catch people up on the story so far, this is a King Arthur story. Mahalo, my friend. I hope that helped you go to bed and yeah. So this is a King Arthur story. We are playing as King Arthur. They use modern language sometimes they don't. But it is. It's interesting so far. All we've really done is have some conversations with some people, and yeah. So you'll see. We read, and then we have choices to pick from. Sometimes I'll let you guys choose. Sometimes I'll choose. So this is page we don't know. You return from a patrol of the empty lands. The gate guards inform you that a messenger from K is waiting for you in the Great Hall. Messengers usually bring bad news, but in this case, you aren't worried. Now, I would like to point out that if the Republicans are looking for someone who could do a better rebuttal to the State of the Union, I have so far shown I am a much better public speaker than TikiBrick ever will be. Messengers usually bring bad news, but in this case, you aren't worried. K's ideas of what constitute bad news are, well, overly pessimistic. So you trot to the stables and hand your horse over to one of the men there before walking, not running, to the Great Hall. Besides, Messengers ride hard, and this guy will need some rest before setting off on his return journey. So what's the news from Kay? You inquire as you enter the Great Hall. The messenger had been lying down in the straw. He jumps up and reports, there was a fellow who was caught stealing a knife from a neighbor. This is news, you blurt. No, but when word was brought to Kay's a guy? He send orders to have the miscreant come to his great hall for judgment. But the guy took off and disappeared. Yes? You ask leadingly. We all thought that was the end of that. But then we heard a rumor that the fellow was living in Mordred's domain. So Kay sent a messenger to Mordred, asking him to turn the fugitive over to the messenger so that he could be brought to justice. Mordred refused. He said that the man was a good worker and that he, Mordred, would keep him. Oh, there you go. What? You almost shout. Who does Mordred think he is? That's Kay's man, subject to Kay's command. Mordred cannot simply take people away from other kinglets. Yes, that's why Kay sent me to inform you. He requests that you order Mordred to return the criminal to him. We have three choices. 1, we can't have Mordred flouting the law. I'm sending my own messenger to Mordred to order him to respect the law. Maybe. Sure, tell Kay he has my authorization to demand that Mordred return the man. That is not as strong as the first one. Vast bethood. Mordred would certainly ignore any order from me, but that's not worth starting a civil war over this. Tell Kay to let it go. Let it go. We need to let it go. Wow, we're flying over water. I didn't know we'd be flying over water on today's trip. There it is. Looks like it's only a little bit of water because we're going to fly past whatever that island is. That's an island. It's a big-ass island. Maybe that's Mozambique. Who knows? But we're flying to Nairobi. There we go. Look, I hate the name Mordred, so we're going to send my own messenger for that reason alone. I mean, I like the third one in concept, but if Mordred had a better name, I'd tell Kay to let it go. The messenger later returned saying Mordred refuses to give up the man. I knew that was what was going to happen. Next. You're hurrying across the compound to talk to the guys at the northeast gate. It's over 1,000 feet from the Great Hall to the northeast gate. You spend a lot of time just walking back and forth across Camelot. Why did we put the Great Hall at the western edge of the hilltop? Wouldn't it have made more sense to put it in a central location? Yeah, the Great Hall still occupies the highest point in Camelot. With a commanding view appropriate to a commander, still, it would. Bonk. Something big hits you in the back. Where is Camelot, by the way? Is Camelot in London? One, is Camelot even a real place? Let's start with that. Camelot. All right, so we're on Wikipedia. Camelot is a legendary castle and court associated with King Arthur, absent early on. Medieval text located somewhere in Great Britain, sometimes associated with real cities, though usually its precise location is not revealed. So, no. Maybe. Evidently, Winchester Castle in Winchester, Hampshire, is most likely to be the location associated with it. So, who knows? That's good to know. That's good for us to know. You whirl around to see a half dozen kids staring at you in horror. Damn. Maybe you should be better looking. One places her hand over her mouth. You glance down. An all Nathrok. It's the Chuck Ball. Why does that sound like the thing that you needed to say in Ready Player One, the movie? Like there was that massive protective dome over like the little castle, and then she had to have her little like floating drone speaker, and she'd go Anahal Nathrok. Yeah, there we go. You grin and pick it up. It brings back fond memories of childhood. It's probably the same ball you used to kick around as a kid. Whenever a leather item wears out, the last home of any fragments of leather is the chuck ball. One of the women sews it onto the chuck ball. Sometimes she wraps a heavy woolen twine around it to hold it in place. Nevertheless, bits and pieces are always falling off. For all you know, this ball is 100 years old. It's always easier to patch up an old ball than to construct a new one. Besides, the endless layers of leather and stitching give it a bit of stiffness. You heft it in your hand. It's a bit smaller than you recall. Perhaps that's only because you're a bit bigger. It's not really a ball, more of a round lump. But it's fine for kicking around. You were a pretty hot chuck ball player in your day. Is chuck ball a real sport? Although now you recognize that maybe, just maybe, the other kids were reluctant to slam into you as often as you deserved. You smile again, thinking of the good old days of childhood. Then you glance back at the kids. They look as if they're expecting death any minute. I laugh and toss the ball back to the kids and continue on my way. I drop the ball and start kicking it. Maneuvering towards the goal. The kids give chase. I make a grand kick towards the goal and miss. The kids all cheer. Well, I wouldn't miss. I scowl at the kids and shout, "Watch where you kick that thing." I'm going to laugh and toss the ball back to the kids because I would not miss my shot, and I don't want that decision to come back and haunt me later on in my life. The kids look greatly relieved they haven't been sentenced to death. Next. What is chuck ball? Oh. So here it is. It's an indoor team sport played by teams of 7 players. It's developed in Switzerland in the 70s. Okay. Probably not the right thing. Interesting. This is interesting. I may have to look into this for the dads in town. Interesting. Okay. So we didn't find out what chuck ball was in terms of being back in the day. But evidently there is a sport called chuck ball. I mean, it looks better than Gaga. I'll say that much. All right. This is the next page, I guess. Every Sunday morning, Latilis, the Christian priest. What? Am I saying that right? Litilis, okay. I'll go with that. The Christian priest holds mass in the Great Hall. Inasmuch as you and Guinevere live in the apartment at the west end of the Great Hall, it's incumbent upon the two of you to attend the mass. The altar is a small table placed at the west end of the main hall, butting up against the partition separating your apartment from the main hall. The dining table is left in place because it's much too large to be moved. The congregants sit or stand facing the altar. They kneel only at the most important moment in the Mass, when a different named person, let's see how text to speech likes that name. It's almost the same, but it's slightly different.
Liculus.
Liculus. I like Liculus. That's a great name. Liculus transforms the bread and wine into the body and blood of Jesus Christ and displays it to the faithful. The dirt floor is not particularly sanitary. Back to the tea! So Liculus tolerates the congregation sitting rather than kneeling. You know, I feel like I need to send an email to my uncle over this. I feel like I need to do that. New email. You guys can't see that, right? Like, that's not... okay, good. It's not showing up on screen. Boom, 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 boom. Mort D. Arthur Bugs. Uncle Chris, I'm writing to let you know that I'm playing, parentheses, if that's the right verb, your interactive story world, Le Morte D. Arthur. I'm curious, what is the level of bugs I should be reporting to you? For instance, today I read this paragraph. We'll see how much my uncle loves me. If nothing else, will write back and tell me what the right verb is. That's the right verb. Oh, jeez. I gotta change the font back. Don't you hate that when you copy and paste something and it changes the font on you? Like a sucker. So, as you can see, let's highlight the names. So we're really just making it painful for them at that point. It's either two separate or it's a in the middle. Please let me know. Boom. We'll see what he writes back. If he writes back on stream, I will tell you guys all that. What he says. Because I do think that is important if he writes back. Alright. Where were we? You resent the obligation of kneeling and sitting. It consumes precious time that you need for 100 other tasks. Guinevere makes you wear your finest tunic and your good shoes. She wears her prettiest dress. She insists that the formal attire is necessary recognition of the sanctity of the Mass, but you suspect that she relishes, a tunic. She insists that the formal attire, blah, blah, blah. You suspect that she relishes the opportunity to dress up. The two of you sit at the front of the congregation to emphasize the importance of attending Mass. But welcome on in, Star, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. Were you here last? Were you here last time when I explained what we're doing? By the way, please let me know if you were or were not, because I can explain what we're doing. Your greatest irritation comes from the sermons that Litulus presents halfway through the Mass. When you are a young man, the sermons from the priest explain the contents of the Holy Bible. You've never seen this wondrous book, like most Christians, but it presents the fundamental truths of the Christian religion and apparently contains a treasure trove of wisdom. You learn so much from these priests, especially Father Clementius. He would always start with an interesting story from the Holy Book. He told those stories with such verve and elan. He would conclude each story with a moral lesson. Okay, starting. Aloha. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Starden, she's one of my moms, one of my best friends. I really appreciate having her in existence. So, we're going to start off from the beginning for you, because you matter to me, Starden. This is my Uncle Chris. My Uncle Chris is famous-ish. He created the Game Developers Conference, which is still a thing. He made video games for Atari back in the 70s and 80s. But he hasn't done anything since the 80s because he has been working on this interactive story world engine thing. And then he gave it up, to my understanding. And in his words, he kind of said, I am not capable, nor is anyone capable of developing this thing to the level of which it needs to be developed. And so he did, in 1992 is when he left video games to go build this thing. And he wanted to do this, and he did this until about 2013 or so. Right here, which is where he was talking about doing it. And then he just didn't do anything else. That was kind of it. And I just assumed the man had retired and was enjoying his retirement because that's what he was old. You know, he's 74 years old now, so he was at retirement age. Why not? Then on his website, we saw that he released his magnum opus, an interactive story world called Le Motte d'Author. As he put it, is not finished. It will never be finished, but it's playable and it's pretty good. So, of course, we're playing that. It is a story in which we are King Arthur. It's an Arthur legend. And it is basically a choose-your-own adventure. Maybe it's a little more glorious than that. I don't know, but we read this long thing, and then we choose what we want to do based upon that. And supposedly when we finish this in 5 to 7 hours, according to this progress bar, we're supposed to have an epiphany. So, that's where we're at. You're on your spring break? Woohoo! It's kind of early for spring break, if you ask me. We're not even at St. Patrick's Day yet. Anyway, we did send my uncle an email because he did say, please report bugs to me at this email address. So we sent him one because in this paragraph, sometimes it's litulus, sometimes it's liquous, and sometimes it's lituous. And the rest of the time it's all lituous. It's not liquous ever again. But that's where we're at. Litulus never talks about the Holy Bible. Sometimes you wonder if Litulus has even read the Bible, or if he can even read. Instead, Litulus is constantly droning on about the responsibilities of the faithful to the church. A true Christian, Litulus declares, offers gifts to the church, works cheerfully on church projects on Sundays, and inspires others through purity of his faith. Every single week, Litulus bemoans the lack of proper Christian church anywhere in Arthur's domain. He laments how shameful it is that he is forced to celebrate the Holy Mass in a hall where men get drunk on beer. On and on he goes. You've learned to plan your week during his sermons, straining hard to recall each of the important tasks you face and to prioritize them, all while maintaining a perfectly blank face. After the sermon, Litulus serves communion to the faithful. You and Guinevere lead the line. After a bit more ceremony, Mass is ended, and you head for your apartment to change back into some real clothes. On this particular Sunday, as you emerge from your apartment to get rolling, Lituus intercepts you. Arthur, what did you think of my sermon today? It was a nice sermon, you say. In all honesty, you can't even recall a word of it. Did you intend to do anything about it? Awkward. Now you're in a bind. You have no idea what Lituus actually said. But you have a pretty good guess. He wants you to commit to building a church for him. It's out of the question, of course. Half the roundhouses in Camelot need repairs. And the woodcutters and carpenters can't even keep up with the workload. So here's what we get to choose. We can say, Lituus, are you willing to tell the people here they'll have to continue to live crowded together in broken down roundhouses so that you can have a church? Or do you want to say, I intend to build a fine church for you, Lituus. I know how important it is. Just now, though, many of the roundhouses in Camelot are greatly in need of repairs. As soon as we repaired them, we'll turn to the task of building your church. Back off, Lituus. You've asked me 100 times, and I keep telling you that I lack the resources to build your church. Perhaps someday, when peace has come to Britain, we can build your church. I mean, obviously the middle one is the most political of the answers, right? I don't believe in being political to religious people. I like to call them out on their bullshit. So we're going with option number 1. Aloha, Wonder Gamer. How are you doing? Are you enjoying yourself a good weekend? Lituus scowls but says nothing. Good, I put him in his place. All right, here's a picture of someone drawn by Michelangelo. Oh, Jessica Navrick was phenomenal. Was it a good day of work? Breakfast. You're munching on some bread, thinking about the day's tasks. Mabin offers you some hot soup, but you wave it away. The soup wasn't very good last night, and a night's fermentation could not have improved its taste. She glances down at it and nods understandingly. I'll have to find somebody who's really hungry, she jests. You finish your bread and stand up as several people enter the great hall. One that makes a beeline for you. It's Cediacus, the horse master. Did I say that right?
Sediacus.
Sediacus. Damn. I like how I said it more, but I guess we're going to have to say Sediacus. We need to talk, he urges. The stable really needs repair soon. It's about to fall down. That's a you problem, Sediacus. Let's go have a look. Damn it. You know, don't feel bad. I think Cediacus is a better name than Sediacus. Let's have a look, you answer amicably. You've never noticed anything wrong with the place, but there's a chance you missed something. And it's always good to indulge your people's worries. Wow. At the least, the attention of the king will elevate Sediacus's mood. Walking across Camelot to the stable, you nod to Padrig, who's carrying a big pot of flour, to the kitchen. You wave to the woman opening up one of the loom sheds to the sunlight. You laugh along with them as some kids dash by you. One of them stops to pet Kutana. That's the dog. Kutana is the dog, who basks in the attention. At the stable, Sediacus shows you a heavy main post that's showing some rot at its base. He stabs his knife into the wood, and it penetrates a good half inch. Not good. Another small post has been kicked by a horse and is half broken. Pointing up towards the roof, Sediacus warns of dire consequences should those laterals break. After all, they're nearly 20 years old. Glendower's list of repairs is already long, you muse out loud. But I'll talk to him about this and see if we can squeeze it in sometime. You don't need shaped lumber for the stable. Straight longs will do the job. It all depends on what Price brings in over the next few months. Price, the woodsman. Yes, he's been working on replenishing our stock of oak, and that's slow work. But he can probably knock down and trim some softwoods easily enough. You don't want softwood for this. Just don't blame me if the stable collapses, Sadiacus warns. You smile weakly and depart. But you only get a few paces before Wilhelm, Atricus's assistant, accosts you. Oh, God, how do you say that name? Atricus? Atricus?
Atrectus.
Atrectus. God damn it. Atrectus needs to talk to you about supplies for the smithy. Atrecus is a jolly fellow, a brightly colored and happily squawking woodpecker, and a flock of quiet gray sparrows. Life has been kind to Atrecus. He was born and raised on a farm 15 miles west of here, and never suffered a Saxon raid. Indeed, the only Saxons he's ever seen were slaves. Wow, there you go. His club foot saved him from duty as a trooper, and he is respected for his skills involving club feet. He makes all the metal implements used in your domain: swords, spears, armored iron scale shirts, shovels, axes, picks, scythes, and hoes. I know, but again, uh-oh, crap. We almost hit a mountain. So I pulled up. I'm going to pull up to 6,000 feet in our altitude. Yeah, so he makes hose. Got it. Oh, crap. Yeah, we don't want to hit a mountain. What's going on? I guess it's taking us back to 5,000 feet. I want to go to 6,000 feet, though. Let's get back up to 6,000 feet. And then we'll turn back on autopilot. There we go. No, Wonder Gamer, this is not a book. I'll give you the spiel that I'm giving everyone else. Why does this plane keep diving? There we go. Okay, well, now we're going to hold it at 6,000. That's going to do a much better job. So, Wonder Gamer. My uncle is named Chris Crawford, and he is a... Oh, dear God, please don't hit that mountain. We cleared it. We cleared it. He is a video game developer from the 80s and 70s. Made games for Atari back in the day. He developed this interactive story world, and he's released it. And the first thing in the story world is this thing called Le Motte d'Arthur. It's a King Arthur story. And we're getting very close to hitting these mountains. I feel confident we're not going to hit it at 6,000 feet. I feel confident. So we read, and then it's a choose your own adventure book. He spent like 30 years making this. All right. Atricus's moment of heroism came while she were away on a campaign, and the Saxons raided Camelot. There were just a handful of men capable of defending the place. He defended the gates when the Saxons tried to break it down, spearing the attackers, even though through this thin slit between the doors. Each time his spear bit flesh, he counted it out loud. That's 7, he'd shout. That's 8. His triumphant banter okay, we didn't hit that one. That's good. Help steady the other defenders, all old men or wounded, at the moment of crisis. I want to go up. I want to get higher. Because, again, I'm getting really scared about this. So we're going to do that. We're going to pull up. And we're going to pull up to 7,000 feet. Again, I feel really good about 7,000 feet. And then we can slow our level off. And then we get that. There we go. We're at 7,000 feet. I feel much better about 7,000 feet. Until I stop feeling good about 7,000 feet. Everyone put your oxygen masks on. We're experiencing extra turbulence this flight. Well, you know. Okay. So the part where he's like that, he's that 7, that's 8. That just reminds me of Lord of the Rings. I don't know if my uncle stole that from Lord of the Rings. He probably did. I mean, I don't know if it's in the movie or the book, but that's what reminds me of. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who would have watched the movies, just read the books. Atricus is one of the few inhabitants of Camelot who never burdens you with complaints. That's good. He makes do with the few resources available, improvising when necessary. If Atricus asks your help, it can only be because he's already exhausted every other possibility and cannot proceed without your intervention. So when he asks for you, as now, you take his request seriously. You change course towards the smithy. Let's do it right now. Atricus greets you with some surprise. I hope that Guilherme didn't alarm you. Not at all. I was already at the stable. What do you want to discuss? I'm running low on just about everything. I've only got enough charcoal to last a week or so. I'm all out of the broken pieces of stuff to rework, and I'm down to just 10 pounds of raw iron. Not a lot of iron. Unless I get some new stuff in the next week, I'll have to shut down the forge. Well, I'll have to ride out to Price's work site and see what he's doing about charcoal for you. Maybe I can get him to concentrate on that. You do that. Alright, let's see. I think we're going to clear this mountain. I do not have high hopes. I was never worried. I talked to him last week. He says he's got plenty of stuff to make a big mound of charcoal, but he's low on workers. 2 were injured in an accident, and another 2 are sick. Can you send him some workers? No, look, nobody even wants to work in King Arthur anymore. Natrak, everybody needs more workers. I'll see who I can scrape up. What about raw iron? Have you been unable to get more from the people up north? Scottish people, right? I've been meaning to talk to you about that. They've raised their rates. Now a cow buys only 10 pounds of raw iron. We'll get some more cows then. Vast. I'll talk to Gawain about trading some of our tin for scrap iron from the Franks. In the meantime, I'll have Berwyn collect 3 head of cattle from Judicale to take north to trade with the miners. That should tide you over until we get some scrap iron from the Franks. Much thanks, Arthur. Atticus elbows Gilherm, who hastens to add his own. Much thanks. Now it's back to the Great Hall to get Berwyn. Along the way, you see Mughal standing in front of his roundhouse. Mughal, how are you doing this morning? I'm waiting for Glendower. We'll be collecting some more clay. I've got another job for you. Atticus is nearly out of charcoal, and Price doesn't have enough workers to make more. I want you to go to Price's work site to help him make charcoal. But I'm supposed to help Glendower with the clay. Charcoal has a higher priority for now. Get going. But I promised Glendower. Anahal Natrak. That feels like I'm saying Klingon words. Right? So first off, let's see if that's a real word. This was a British extreme metal band. Who knows? Let's see what text-to-speech has to say about this.
Anal Nothric.
Sure, that makes sense. I don't care what you promised. I'm telling you to go help Price. Get moving. It'll take you half a day to get there. What? I have to walk? Why can't I take a horse? We can't afford to have a horse standing around uselessly for a week while you make charcoal. You can walk. It's not that far. It's at least 5 miles. I shouldn't have to walk that far. Most of our horses are already out on raids. We only have a half dozen left in case the Saxons mount a raid. We cannot spare you a horse. Vast Bethood, you will do as I command. Go now. We're going to be nice to this guy. Although I think there is a third option. What's to stop this dude and another dude or female getting on some horses, riding there together, and then second dude takes both horses back? Right? Like a horse Uber. We're not going to be a jerk, though, in our response. Morgul snorts a few Celtic imprecations and stomps away. Mughal. Good for him. You need to get out of Camelot. The endless squabbles, the petty bickering, the long hours you spend hearing out disputes, the nattering. You need a break. It's a nice day and you haven't visited any of the farmers for a while. Besides, it's good to show your face outside of Camelot every now and then. You belt on Excalibur, and walk out of the Great Hall, 10 paces outside. Guinevere accosts you. Where are you going? I'm heading out to chat with some farmers to see how they're doing. You reply brusquely? Brusquely? What is that? Adverb form of brusque. Abrupt or offhand in speech or manner. Jeez.
Brusquely.
Brusquely. You reply brusquely. Guinevere furrows her brow. inspects your face for a moment, and then asks, "So you need some time?" "Why don't I come along?" You can't help but smile. The woman knows your every thought. "Yes, let's go. Just the two of us." It took you just a moment to strap on your sword, but a woman needs more time. She has to change out of her simple shift, put on her riding shoes, find a usable hat, and collect some bread and beer from the duelist to bring along. Why does she have to get the bread and beer? Wouldn't you also get bread and beer? All of this takes half an hour. You could be well away from Camelot by now. Ah, well, it will be a more pleasant outing with some refreshments. You ride out the northeast gate and the short distance to the old Roman road, Gutana happily accompanying you. "Has Magal gone too far this time?" she asks, referring to yet another brouhaha the argumentative laborer incited this morning. "Magal? That spat? Nah, you protest. I've learned to order him to shut up and get back to work. He's an ass, all right, but hitting him over the head with a club usually sets him straight." "So what is it?" she asks. "It's just..." You hesitate, groping for words. "It's just everything." Brachus complains that his helper is lazy. Seneco doesn't want to give up any of his sheep. Atricus can't get enough charcoal. Glevia is mad because Velabia is spreading her gossip about her. The words come tumbling out as you recite the long list of squabbles, pettiness, incompetence, and meanness that you are called upon to patch up, fix, resolve, or adjudicate every minute. I knew adjudicate every minute of every day. On and on you rant, unburdening yourself of all the resentments you've been building up for weeks now. Guinevere pays close attention, nods understandingly, asks the occasional short question for clarification, but is otherwise silent. Eventually, you have poured forth all the poison and you stop. Guinevere is still silent. Why can't I handle these problems? Am I a bad king? Guinevere laughs gently. There are always problems. As king, you can only control the magnitude of the problems. The fact that the problems are so silly shows what a successful king you are. People will always make trouble. You marvel at her wisdom. She was such a silly girl when you were wait, they're not married? I guess you're divorced. She just lives with you still. Always dancing and laughing. You were enchanted by her joy, but you didn't think of her as an equal. She was a delightful relief from the mortal challenges you faced. But over the years, Guinevere grew into a woman much grander than you'd expected. She stood loyally by your side in the hard times of the early wars with the Saxons, sharing the hardships and dangers of the wars. While you were away with the army, she held Camelot together, keeping everybody busy as the Saxon war parties swept through the countryside, killing and burning. By force of will and example, she kept the people from succumbing to panic and fleeing. She never had more than a dozen soldiers to defend the place. Sometimes she stood guard at night, so her soldiers could get some sleep. She has more death than many soldiers have seen. Starvation and disease carried away children and the old. Saxons killed all ages indiscriminately. She organized the care of the wounded in battles. Many died. Sometimes she and a handful of soldiers were the only aid that pillaged Hamlet ever saw. She'd oversee a burning of the bodies, the collection of anything useful the Saxons had left, and shepherd any survivors back to Camelot. Guinevere is unusually silent as you ride. Normally she keeps the conversations going. Sometimes it's just the gossip of the moment, the catty antagonisms of the women she oversees. But today she has nothing to say. After 10 minutes of quiet, you can no longer bear the silence. Is something wrong, you ask? She's silent for a long minute, then quietly says, I never bore you a son. Seriously? Seriously? You're taken aback. You have never raised this issue, never complained, never suggested anything. Yes, you did. You bore me 2 sons. They both died in childhood. I should have had more. You would have an heir. Now Mordred has the best claim to the throne. That Bethhood punk will never have the throne. He's nasty and incompetent. Nobody will respect him. So what will happen? Will there be a civil war? All because I failed you and all our people. You feel as if you've been punched in the stomach. You had never suspected that Guinevere felt so guilty about the accidents of biology. Alright, let's see. Should we say, don't worry, Guinevere, we'll figure something out? Should we say, don't you ever say such a thing? You did your best, you cannot take blame for something you had no control over. And last, you can guide your horse to obstruct Guinevere's path, stop, dismount, and hold up my arms to her. She slides in my arms and hold her long and tightly. You were not to blame for the sorrows that fate has forced upon us. You've always done better than I could have expected of any wife. I'm going to go with the third one. Guinevere cries in your shoulder. I am haunted by a recurring image of you dying in a battle with Mordred. I can't get it out of my head. How are we doing on our flight, by the way? 156 nautical miles. Riding a bit further, the two of you come to a lovely glade. Do you remember this place, you ask? Isn't it where we came once many years ago, just to be alone, to be away from all the hubbub at Camelot? Guinevere dismounts and walks into the glade. Yes, I'll never forget this place. It was a warm day in late spring. We made love over there under that tree. You join her and take her hand in yours. Yes, that was one of the happiest days in those dark times. I hope so. Before Mount Badon. The world seemed a hopeless place, and we had escaped the fear and desperation in Camelot. This glade was sunny and full of wildflowers. The new leaves on the trees were a brighter green. Bumblebees flitted from flower to flower, and the birds sang with joyous energy. She speaks quietly. All that joy of life that infected us, and we joined in the chorus of nature with our own love-making. It was the most beautiful experience of my life. Oh, dear God. You both walk over to the tree and sit silently for long moments, basking in the power of nature and the memories, one hand fondling another. The sun slowly drifts across the sky. You break the silence. Guinevere, have you ever heard of Merlin? That's some hot foreplay, if you ask me. My mother told me stories about him. He's a magician of great power. Yes, my mother told me such stories too, but I never understood his purpose or his meaning. In the stories, he would show up and alter the course of events with his magic. Sometimes he did good things. Sometimes he did bad things. I like those stories, Guinevere says dreamily. Do you think he's real? She awakens from her reverie and turns to examine your face closely for a long moment. Of course he's not real. He's a story. A fairy tale that parents tell their children. After a pause, she says, "Why do you ask?" I think I saw him when I was fishing. He was standing there, staring at me. And when I asked his name, he said Merlin and disappeared. Guinevere's confused. Are you certain he said that? If he were real, why would he do that? I don't know what to think. It was all very strange. I thought I saw him near Camelot, but again, he disappeared. What can this mean? Guinevere thinks for a moment, then asks, did he seem threatening or beneficent to you? What does your heart feel? 1, he couldn't tell, he just stared. 2, he gave me no clear signs, but I'm worried about his appearances. 3, I saw nothing threatening in his demeanor. I think he means well. I think I'm going to go with 1, because it makes him feel like the most much of a pervy stalker. Like Marlin's got like a white stalker bus or something. Guinevere sighs through pursed lips. Then wait for a clearer sign. If he's real, then he will make his meaning known soon enough. In the meantime, there's nothing you can do about him. So don't worry. Alright. There we go. Slurping your soup, you frown and then spit it onto the floor. Some of the meat is rotten. Do less of stretching the meat too far. You make a mental note to order her to give such meat to the dogs. You decide to soak your bread in the soup in the expectation that the combination will somehow overcome the flaws of each. The soup does soften the stale bread, and the bread cuts the sour taste of the rotten meat. A hand lays upon your shoulder and you turn to see Rianu as she seats herself beside you. I think that's Rianu. I feel like we should be doing like a quiz where like people can say like, how close do you think I was to what text-to-speech is going to say? So Rianu.
Rianu.
I'll take it. I seem to have lost. There it goes. I lost for a hot second my mouse cursor. Rianu ties her hair back in a bun. She's 5 years younger than you, but her hair has been completely grayed by years of warring with death. She always loses every one of those wars, but she occasionally wins some battles. She has experienced many more deaths in isolated farmhouses than you have on the battlefield. What the hell's happening in farmhouses? And many of those who died were children. All those years have taught her a balance between grimness and professionalism. She knows that by the time she's called upon, it's usually too late. She spends more time presiding over death than preserving life. But she has found the strength to keep returning to her battlefield, to once again raise her arms against death, knowing that she'll probably lose. Damn. Cold. Along the way, though, she's lost the sparkle of life. Humor is alien to her. She responds to jokes with a merely civil smile, and smiles are strange visitors to her face. Death has not broken her spirit. It has instead disciplined it, focused it, hardened it. Tears are even rarer on her face than smiles. She enters every battle with grim determination and calm clarity and serene resignation. You know little of her past. Like so many other residents of Camelot, she appeared at the gates as the forlorn survivor of a brutal Saxon raid. She was already an expert in the healing arts, but was reluctant to talk about her family, her upbringing, and education. Everything that has been obliterated in one terrible day. You don't even know where she came from. She speaks with an odd accent that you cannot identify. I just got word that one of the woodsmen was hit by an axe head that broke loose from its handle. I have to ride out to see what I can do. If the axe head hit him in the head, I doubt I'll be able to help him. except perhaps to ease his pain while he dies. Aloha, Clover. How are you doing, my good friend? How's Phasmo? Sorry I didn't get to tune in. Just didn't work out for me time-wise, but how was it? I imagine your avatar had a good old time with that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Club Rose, please go check her out. She's a wonderful human being. I value her very much. She is phenomenal. She grabs a crust of bread, takes a bite, and then turns and spits it to the floor. So what's on your schedule for today? She asks vacantly. Oh, geez, there's not a lot here. So one, I could say typical stuff. Deciding who gets how much of the charcoal that just came in. Do less or Artricus. Checking out a young fellow who wants to be a trooper. Finding a new source of hay for Lucianus, and so on. Or I could say, it must be hard tending to people who are probably going to die. And lastly, I could say, Rianu, how do you manage to keep going amidst all that death? I see plenty of death. But the best kind of death is concentrated in short bursts that I can anticipate beforehand. For you, it's day in, day out experience. How do you cope? I feel like the best thing to be is just like a narcissist and not even talk to her about all the death. We're going to go with that. Rianu nods blankly. Same for me. A typical day, except people die for you. I'm so glad that you had so much fun doing that. I think if I ever did Phasmo, I'd want to play with like the VR headsets. To me, that looks like it's the most fun. How are we doing on our fly, by the way? Let me check. $118 miles. Definitely the best option, yes. Dula slaves away in her kitchen all day long. Sometimes she's making bread. Sometimes it's soup. If she's got some extra time, she likes to make something special. Actually, I think I'm about to hit an ad break. No, I have 13 minutes into my next ad break. But I'm going to take a quick be right back, by the way.
Dad will be right back. Dad will be right back. He might use the bathroom. He might get a snack. He might move Audrey. He might move Sam to his bedroom. He might move Maggie. He might go to get a snack or a drink in 5 minutes. He might be right back in 1 minute or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour. If you see a streamer's name pop up in the chat, he might come to rate someone. He might just come to go. He might just kind of go to the bathroom also. And please don't say you need to go poop. And I was ready for the grand finale, and we all shout, he's gonna be right back. He's gonna be right back. Dad will be right back. Dad will be right back. He might use the bathroom. He might get a snack. He might move Audrey. He might move Sam to his bedroom. He might move Maggie. He might go to get a snack or a drink in 5 minutes. He might be right back in 1 minute or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour. If you see a streamer's name pop up in the chat, he might come to rate someone. He might just come to go. He might just kind of go to the bathroom also.
And I'm back. And I'm back. Okay. It's interesting. So when my Be Right Back screen was up, there's a little error message at the bottom of my thing that said encoding overloaded. And I'm like, okay. So we'll see what all that means. I should close this app out of the way, by the way. All right, where were we? Do less slaves away in our kitchen. Sometimes we make bread, sometimes soup. Okay. We didn't read any of this. Mahalo, my friend. It's always a pleasure to be back. Just get my drink. Did you have a good weekend, though, also, in addition to all the stuff that you did? Do less slaves away in her kitchen all day long. Sometimes she's making bread. Sometimes it's soup. If she's got some extra time, she likes to make something special. Sometimes she takes the stale old bread, mixes it with old meat, throws in some beans and greens, and makes a stew. We call it old stew. Old Stew Bowl was a racehorse, and she was mine. But today was not one of Doulas's better days. Oh, snap. The bread is days old and starting to show a little green spots of mold. And the soup smells bad. Even the beer seems off. Oh, my God. Even the beer? Even the beer? You skipped the meal. Good choice. Walk out of the Great Hall and up to the stockade. You're just going to throw yourself in jail rather than eat this food. And climb up a ladder to the walkway. Kitana sits patiently at the foot of the ladder, waiting for your return. There's nobody else around. The guards are at 2 gates, and there's no need to watch carefully in the daylight. As night falls, more guards will report for duty, and they'll spread along the stockade. Ooh, what was the musical? And why would you pull an all-nighter? Yeah, mine was good. You know, it slowly improved throughout the whole weekend, and now I'm streaming, so it's kind of the end of the weekend. Yeah, overall good. I got good food prep done today, so that makes me feel productive and ready to meet the week. So yeah, good times. So I think our main character is going to commit suicide over that terrible, terrible food that Doulas made us. Just now the sun is setting. You lean against the stockade and stare at it as it slips beneath the distant mounds of Gilahad's domain. You stare so hard that the bright image burns into your eyes, and you see bright visual echoes of the sun bouncing around in your eyes. You turn your eyes to the right. Sweeping across the broad Avalon Valley to the northwest, sticking right out of the middle of the valley, like some sort of defiant monument, is the Great Tor, reaching high above the marshlands around it. It is the most perfectly defensible location in the world, surrounded as it is by extensive marshes in all directions. The Tor itself is steep. A fortress on top would be impregnable. Ooh, Percy Jackson Lightning Thief musical. You know, I've never gotten into Percy Jackson. My kids haven't either. Should they be? Yes, meal prep is very important. I'm a person who can handle having the same thing over and over and over again. So meal prep really just is about removing the stress of having to think about what I want to eat. I mean, dealing with what the kids want to eat is stressful enough. I just want to take my food off of my, burdens. But except for religious festivals, Avalon is off limits to all but the servants of the ancient Celtic religion. It's been a holy place for as long as the myth and memory hold. The Tor is a wondrous place, reaching halfway up to heaven. Is the Tor a real thing? However, the Glastonbury Tor core is short for the onion router, the software. So I'm guessing this is somewhat of a real thing, but not really a real thing. Oh, co-pilot. I don't want to talk to you, co-pilot. That's a bad co-pilot. Dear God, now I have to go talk to GPT-4. Yes, the characters in this story. Douglas needs to get some meal prep on. Okay, reaching halfway to heaven. Its summit is the site of religious rites of the 4 points of the year. Avalon itself is the preserve of the monks who keep the old religion. Their claim to the place is so ancient that the Romans dare not interfere. Even the Christians have left the Celtic monks alone. That's nice of them. Okay, there's my mouse. Yep, okay, cool. It's only 10 miles away from Camelot, but you seldom go there except for one of the religious observances surrounded by a huge crowd. Someday you tell yourself, I'd like to take a day and climb the Tor. Stand alone on its crest, taking in the whole world. That would be nice, if only you had the time. But you have so many tasks demanding your time. The sun is set. The gloaming darkens. It's time to go inside. Someday I will really climb. I really will climb the Tor alone. I shake my head. It's a waste of time fantasizing about possible things, like days off. We're gonna go with this because I believe in work-life balance. Yeah, sure. Jeez. Again, I wish I knew how... Like, we have this little progress bar, but I really wish it was like page 82 or page 83. Sagramore comes to complain about Tristram. His people keep trespassing onto my lands, bringing their sheep and cattle to graze. I've warned them, but they just keep coming. Is this happening in the hills above Taunton, you ask? Exactly. Most of the border follows that creek, but at that ridge at the head of the creek, the border runs sideways down from the high ground. That border isn't marked. There's no way for people to know where it is. No wonder there's confusion. You have to fix this mess, Arthur. I could move the border to follow the main ridgeline, but that would transfer some of your land to Tristram. Is that what you want? About a mile east of the head of the creek, another ridgeline turns south. That makes a clean border. Yes, I know that ridge. That would transfer a lot more of Tristram's land to you. It's the only way to have a clearer border. If you transfer my land to Tristram, we'll still have confusion at the south end, where the ridgeline peters out. I really do not understand the argument. Okay, I can leave things are they are. You can keep warning Tristram's people respect the boundary. I'll make that Tristram knows these to keep people in. Okay. I'll move the borders. Some people okay. I'm going with option 3. No, it's a cleaner border if we use the main ridgeline. You'll lose land. I'll notify Tristram. The reason why I'm choosing that one is like the first dude is a complainer, and then he's like, what if we move it so that I get more land? And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. Snitches get stitches. Sagramore is furious. Yeah, Tristan would have been too. He manages to contain himself enough to refrain from saying something stupid, but his eyes burn with anger. Next. How are we doing, by the way? I think we have enough time for one more page. Oh, we have no picture. So, oh, there's our picture. Looks like they're building a moat. Or maybe a World War II trench. That doesn't feel like it's the right time period, but we're going to go with it. A few days later, you ride over to Kay's domain to talk with him about his attempt to deter Saxon cattle raids by building a dike. I think they're building a dike in the picture. The two of you ride out to look over the work. You come across a gang of workers strengthening the dike. They're digging the trench in front of it deeper and using the soil to pile the dike up higher. It's hot. Hard work. A worker in the ditch loads soil into a bucket. When it's full, she shoulders it with straps and slowly, unsteadily climbs the steep slope to the top of the dike, where he dumps his pitifully tiny... Damn! Some cold shit. It's a time travel episode. Then he staggers down the slope, trying not to dislodge the soil, and he resumes digging. They're a 12-minute work, and 3 using the rest break to serve as lookouts in case the Saxons make an appearance. The dike is an experiment. The ancients started the tradition, but they didn't build many such dikes. Kay's dike is a renewal of the old dike. Seriously, could he not say dike so much? The combination of dick and dike is impenetrable to cattle. If the Saxons steal cattle, they'll have to go to one of the breaks in the dike system, where you'll be waiting for them. But maintaining the dikes is a never-ending task. If the Saxons find a weak spot in the dike system, they could attempt a cattle raid, drive the cattle through the weak spot, and make a clean getaway. Alright, we got 3 options. I can shake my hand dismay, we can try to with the back, okay, there we go, I like that. Okay. That is a very accurate number 2. I'm going to go with 3. How can you spare these workers from all the other jobs that have to be done? The reason I'm going to go with that one over the other 2 is this one is kind of lame. This one is kind of the same as this first one, except it's talking about we're going to have to make more work for ourselves, and I do not like that. So we're going with number 3. Kay answers, there's always a lot of work to do. These guys are working here only because there's nothing to do this week with the crops, but let them grow. Yeah. All right, we'll do this last page and then we will land. Old Yannick died yesterday. Our funeral's tomorrow. We will both go. Guinevere doesn't leave you much wiggle room, but you're not averse to attending Yannick's funeral. You've known him for decades. He served in the army and threw a mean spear. He saved your life once when a Saxon was about to shove his sea axe into your back. Yannick heaved a spear from 20 feet away and nailed that sucker. You asked him afterwards how he wasn't sure he'd have hit you, to which he replied with a wicked grin, I wasn't. Yannick was a big, hulking fellow, quite intimidating on the battlefield. Sadly, he was a bit of a load for his horse, and he was always the last guy in line. When you all charged at the Saxons, his bull horse struggled to keep up with the others. When it came down to hand-to-hand fighting, he just shoved people out of the way with his shield. Any Saxon foolish enough to stand his ground would inevitably end up on the ground. They would stay well out of reach of a spear and try to get behind him the way dogs attack a bear. That tactic might have worked if there weren't any other Britons to occupy them. Yannick had a big bushy beard that he knotted together at the bottom. He wore a badly made leather cap, more like a helmet in shape, but worthless in combat. It had a loose piece that flapped around when he was fighting. He never bothered washing the blood off of it, so it had ugly black splotches. You run into Lancelot and Sagramore at the funeral. The 3 of you share war stories about Yannick. Each one of you has a great story to tell about Yannick's exploits. Lancelot mentions that Yannick saved his life in battle. You you exclaim. He saved my life, too. I'm not sure what happened was quite what he planned, but he tripped and fell into 2 Saxons who were flanking me. That gave me a few seconds I needed to drive off some other guys. Then I finished the 2 guys on the ground and helped Yakinek up. I mean, I'm not saying he needs to work on his word choices. I'm just saying. The 3 of you roar with laughter. Yeah, Yakinek was a good fellow. I miss him, Sagramore says. Mordred appears. So one more of the old guard passes on. It's a shame, isn't it? I suppose that's the way of things. The old give way to young, and life goes on just fine without them. Mordred's voice has taken an icy tone, and he is staring at you coldly. Lancelot and Sagramore are agape at Mordred's insolence. Oh. 3 options. 1, ignore Mordred, somewhere else. Okay. Okay. And 3, get lost. I'm gonna go with ignoring Mordred. So, Sagramore, as opposed to Sagramore, right? Right, it's Sag right here, it's Sagramore. I heard a little story about you and Yakinek that nearly killed each other once. Yes, Sagramore smiles sadly. There were 2 Saxons fighting side by side. I killed one at the same moment that Yakinek took down the other. We were both so caught up in the battle rage that we took on each other. That bet hood Yakinek was quite a swing. His Jord nodded, mine aside like it was a twig. If I hadn't been wearing my scale shirt, that blow would have killed me. All right, let's go back to landing.
Now I want you to disengage the automatic pilot. Watch out you don't make any violent control movements like you did in the fighter plane.
All right, I'm going to unlock the automatic pilot.
Just remember the controls will feel very heavy compared to a fighter. Don't worry about that, it's perfectly normal.
All right, we're going to drop our speed a little bit. Right? I think that's the right move. We've turned off autopilot and we're starting to climb, and I don't want to climb. All right, now we're starting to descend a little bit. Oh crap, I need to change. I'm looking for my mouse right now. All right, Clover wants to know how I'm liking the story so far. I think it's interesting, honestly. I think it's starting to pick up a bit. I still feel like we have a long way to go. Like, I think this is going to be one of those things that goes on much longer than he claimed it was going to be. Right? Like, he claimed it was going to be 5 to 10 hours. I could argue that we're 2.5, maybe 3 hours into this, and I don't think we're anywhere near the end. Or where we would need to be from a 5 to 10 hour story perspective. Maybe I'm just a slow reader. Maybe he feels like it should take a lot longer or a lot shorter to read through these things than I'm doing. But that's kind of where I am mentally with the book. How are you enjoying it? We're going to speed up a little bit. So I still want to be coming down a little bit. I don't want to be coming down that fast. We're going to cut it tight with this mountain right here. All right, we'll pull it up a little bit to be safe. There we go. We cleared the mountain. There we go. Aw, I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah. I feel like I want to give it 2 more streams at least to see if we start making some progress. I don't want this to be a thing where I do it for months on end. I just wish I could start to see some progress. Like, they have that bar at the top of the page that shows how far you've gone, but it's like it's hard to gauge that bar. I'd love a percentage. Right? Like that's kind of my thought process. And I agree. I don't think this is a very accessible thing that he built. But again, knowing my uncle, yeah, he made it inaccessible for his reasons. All right, so we're doing good with our little descent now. We're about 27 nautical miles out. I really need to get some of those dials because the dials are going to help give me that information. Yeah, no, and I do say that's the motivation for me for doing it, was because it was like he has worked on something like this for over 30 years. Like, I remember being at lunch with my dad and my grandpa and my uncle, and it was like Father's Day, and my Uncle Chris was talking about this. Like, I remember that, and I was like 13 at the time, and I'm 45 now. So I want to give him credit for having like continued on with this, persevered. I hope he's really proud of what he accomplished with it. He sounds like it is. He does refer to it as his magnum opus. It's funny because I would say my family is very much a family that like I want to speed up a little bit. Like tries their hardest to work really hard at things, and so I could see it being very hard for someone like him for many, many years to have not built and accomplished this thing that he was kind of known for. All right, I feel like I'm getting too low. Like those mountains I may run into, so we're gonna pull up a little bit.
Goodbye. Nairobi approach Beechcraft 6801 6,000 feet. Beechcraft 6801 Nairobi approach altimeter 29.9 radar contact continue.
All right, yeah, we're gonna need to pull up a little bit to get over these mountains. Let's accelerate. There we go. Because I do think, like, all right, there we go. We climbed up over the mountains. We're 18 nautical miles out. I do think our family has a lot of, I wouldn't say toxicity to it, but it's like my brother, you know, he was trying to develop something for a long period of time. And I'm not saying people were haters on him, but, you know, okay. So I am going to need to turn away from this. So we're going to abruptly start turning. Because I need to get to this side of the airport. So I can turn around in it. Okay. That feels good. Like I've turned enough to course my way over there now. We can turn back on GPS. And then we can turn back towards as we get there. Yeah, it's definitely interesting for me to work and go through this because, you know, it's not something that I normally do. And I always advocate for people when you talk about what you should be trying to do with hobbies, with your interests. I think there has to be a level of you doing things that help remove stress from your life. You do things that are making your life easier. But at the same time, I think it is very important for people to step outside their comfort zone with projects that ordinarily wouldn't make a ton of sense. And when I think about like what I do here on my stream, right? I build Lego and I fly a plane. And that is a vast difference from who I've been as a streamer many, many times. Hence the idea of the Eras tour. And I need to drop my elevation pretty dramatic. I'm almost near 10,000 feet. How's the prep for that stream come out? So we've come up with our schedule, and it's a matter of me sitting down and making sure and doing like a test run of everything to say what is this the right order? Is this the right to do things? I've written my YouTube video description. I've made my thumbnail for YouTube. I need to make some stuff for Instagram. And once I've made some stuff for Instagram, then I'll feel much more comfortable. But I definitely need to make sure that everything works as anticipated. Everything's installed. Everything does what I expect it to do. We're 8 nautical miles out. I do feel like I need to get lower. All right. So it's coming along. I'm happy that we're still doing that. I'd love to be another. It's going to be epic, yeah. I wish I had another month to plan still. I wouldn't do anything with that month. I just would slack off. But I think this is stream 495. It's at the end of this month. Yeah, like if you give me another month, I would just be like, cool. I have a whole second month to not do anything. I'm gonna be honest. That's what I would do. All right, let's see. Have I lined up? I think I've lined up almost to the point. No, I haven't. I'm gonna fly to this Anton thing. I don't know what Anton stands for, but that's where I'm gonna fly to, and then I'm gonna turn. Because that feels like all right, I'm gonna power up a little bit. Change my pitch a little bit. All right, we're just gonna pull up. I'm really bad at my pitch. Okay, come on, we're getting to Anton here. And then Anton we're gonna turn to, and I'm just saying Anton because there's a little like triangle on the map that's called Anton. And I feel like Anton is in direct line with the end of the runway. We're gonna give it some more juice. There we go. And I don't know if Anton's a city or if it's just a thing on the map that can help me determine if I'm the right way to the airport. All right, I feel like I'm at Anton now. So now let's start really banking and going towards the airport. And make our final descent. Oh crap, we overshot it. I can see the runway. And we are not lined up for it. We went too far past Anton. All right, all right, all right. We're gonna use our pedals. No. There we go. There we go. Let's drop that down a little bit more. We're doing all right. We're lining ourselves up very nicely with it, and we can drop that down. We need to snooze the ad brake.
Nairobi Tower Beechcraft 6801.
Putting down our gears.
6,300 feet with Alpha to land.
Nope. Okay, we're doing great. We're gonna kill power.
Make left traffic runway 24 Beechcraft 801.
Beechcraft 801, you are not cleared to land.
What?
Clear the runway.
You're fooling yourself. That I'm landing. I like how there's like, no, go back the other way. Thank you very much. And that's how we land and get arrested at the same time.
Beechcraft 801, you are not cleared to land. Clear the runway.
No. Watch, I'm turning everything off. I'll show you cleared the land. Yay! We did it! We did it! That was awesome. All right, let's find someone to raid. That would be very fitting if they actually did that in game. If someone came out and was like, "Excuse me, Craw." Do you know what I didn't do? I normally at this point have already set up like where we're gonna fly next, but I haven't done that yet. So yeah, if you know of someone who's online, let's go back to that. If you know of someone who's online right now, they feel like, hey, I should go meet this person, this is your opportunity to drop the name in the chat. Twitch, channels I follow. I'm going to see who I know who's online, and then we will find someone to raid. All right, who do we have? Florida woman's a contender. I haven't rated her in a hot second, and I always do enjoy her. She is such a sweetheart. Ooh. Julie plus cats is a potential, too. All right, Clover, your choice. Florida woman or Julie plus cats? It's your choice. I'm not going to tell you anything else about them, just based on the names. Who do you want to see? Florida woman or Julie plus cats, Clover? It's all you. You're making the decision. Cats. Always go with cats. There you go. So we're going to be rating Julie plus cats. I know her through old school stuff. There's this thing called Hover for a hot second that a lot of people met each other through. She's playing Stardew Valley. She's just a really sweetheart, wonderful, nice human being. I highly recommend we go to her. And then I come over to here and I do this, and we click /raid, and we just get that ready to go because we need to do our raid song. I never thought it'd be so tough to close this stream. Flying high, yeah, in Microsoft skies. The plane was soaring through clouds so high. But now that we've landed, we'll build the soaring world. Aloha. 'Cause I can never make you unhappy. Nah, I couldn't do that, chat. Only wish I'd have to go. Makes it so very hard to go. 'Cause it's time to raid. I've got to go to bed. Mahalo to everyone for being here, by the way. Story world clicking as the plane cruises on. In the virtual cockpit, and the stream rolls on. The storyline takes shape. But now it's time to stop and close out the web page. We move on to a new friend. Her name is Julie and she's got some cats. So spread the aloha spirit. 'Cause I can never make you unhappy. Nah, I couldn't do that, chat. Only wish I'd have to go. Makes it so very hard to go. 'Cause it's time to raid. I've got to go to bed. We'll be back on Friday. We got some Among Us that we're going to be playing with some other Zoom streamers over Zoom. Then we'll be back next week, or next Sunday, for more of all of this. Cause I can never make you unhappy. Nah, I couldn't do that, chat. Only wish I'd have to go. Makes it so very hard to go. 'Cause it's time to raid. I've got to go to bed. It ain't easy for this dad to walk away from his chat when he loves him so much. Aloha. Mahalo from the bottom of my heart, everyone. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you.